The once picturesque town of Ravenswood had always been a serene haven nestled between rolling hills and dense forests. Its quiet charm was shattered when an ominous event unfolded, plunging the entire country into a state of terror. It all started with an unassuming buzzing sound that gradually grew louder, signaling the arrival of an endless swarm of killer bees. The first sighting occurred on a warm summer afternoon. Residents were going about their daily routines, unaware that an ancient force was awakening. A farmer, Amos Mitchell, noticed an odd cloud approaching in the distance. As it drew nearer, the ominous hum filled the air, sending shivers down his spine. Within moments, the swarm descended upon his farmhouse like a malevolent storm. Amos, a weathered man with years of experience, tried to defend his property. He swatted at the bees with a broom, but they seemed impervious to his feeble attempts. The relentless swarm enveloped him, stinging every exposed inch of his body. His anguished screams echoed through the valley as he fell to the ground, convulsing in agony. News of Amos Mitchell's gruesome demise spread like wildfire, but the townspeople dismissed it as a freak accident. Little did they know that Ravenswood was the epicenter of a nightmarish plague that would soon consume the entire country. In the days that followed, the swarm grew larger, its dark cloud casting a shadow over the once vibrant town. Authorities struggled to contain the situation, deploying pesticide sprays and erecting makeshift barriers, but the bees were relentless. People barricaded themselves in their homes, sealing windows and doors in a futile attempt to keep the winged menace at bay. As the swarm expanded its reign of terror, panic gripped the nation. Cities were paralyzed as citizens faced the relentless onslaught. The air was thick with the incessant hum of a million wings, a sound that haunted the dreams of those fortunate enough to survive. Reports of entire neighborhoods succumbing to the deadly assault became a daily occurrence. The government declared a state of emergency, mobilizing the military to combat the deadly threat. Specialized teams armed with flamethrowers and protective suits entered the heart of the swarm, attempting to eradicate the bees at their source. But the swarm seemed to have a malevolent intelligence, adapting to every strategy employed against it. As the death toll rose, a group of scientists delved into the mystery behind the relentless swarm. Dr. Isabella Carter, an entomologist renowned for her expertise in insect behavior, led the research team. Their investigations revealed a chilling truth: the killer bees were not ordinary insects. They were carriers of a lethal toxin that not only paralyzed their victims but also induced horrifying hallucinations. The hallucinations were a nightmarish descent into the deepest fears of those stung by the bees. Victims reported seeing grotesque manifestations of their phobias, trapped in an otherworldly dimension where the boundaries between reality and nightmare blurred. The toxin fueled the swarm's insatiable appetite for destruction, turning the once beautiful countryside into a hellish landscape. Dr. Carter and her team worked tirelessly to develop an antidote, racing against time as the swarm continued its relentless assault. The desperate survivors clung to the hope that a solution would be found before the swarm devoured the entire nation. As the scientists delved deeper into the mystery, they discovered a chilling connection between the swarm and an ancient ritual performed centuries ago. Legends spoke of a cursed cult that worshipped a deity associated with bees, seeking power and immortality. The cult had summoned the swarm as a means of unleashing chaos upon the world, a dark force that would reshape reality itself. The revelation sent shockwaves through the scientific community as Dr. Carter and her team realized that they were not just dealing with a natural phenomenon but a supernatural curse that had been unleashed upon the world. The only way to break the curse and save humanity was to find the source of the ancient ritual and neutralize it. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Dr. Carter and a select group of survivors embarked on a perilous journey into the heart of Ravenswood, where the swarm originated. The town had become a desolate wasteland, its once thriving community reduced to empty streets and dilapidated buildings. As they ventured deeper into the town, the swarm sensed their presence and intensified its assault. The air became thick with the incessant hum of a million wings, and the survivors fought to maintain their sanity amidst the relentless onslaught. The bees seemed to form nightmarish shapes in the air, swirling and morphing into grotesque images that mirrored the hallucinations induced by their venom. In the heart of Ravenswood, the group discovered an ancient, dilapidated temple hidden deep within the forest. The cult that had unleashed the swarm centuries ago had left behind cryptic writings and eerie symbols, hinting at the ritual's location. Dr. Carter, driven by a sense of urgency, deciphered the ancient text and uncovered the key to breaking the curse. The survivors performed a counter-ritual, a desperate attempt to undo the dark magic that had bound the swarm to the mortal realm. As they chanted the incantation, the air itself seemed to tremble, and the swarm outside the temple recoiled in response. For a moment, It seemed as if the curse had been broken. However, the victory was short-lived. The swarm, now agitated and enraged, descended upon the temple with unprecedented fury. The survivors fought valiantly, wielding the newfound knowledge to shield themselves from the relentless assault. In the midst of the chaos, Dr. Carter realized that the curse could only be broken if the original summoner's spirit was laid to rest. Driven by this revelation, the group embarked on a perilous journey to locate the burial site of the cult's leader. The swarm pursued them relentlessly, growing more ferocious with each passing moment. The survivors faced unimaginable horrors as they navigated through a maze of ancient tunnels and hidden chambers, all while battling the relentless onslaught of the killer bees. Finally, deep within the heart of a long-forgotten crypt, they discovered the resting place of the cult leader. The atmosphere was suffused with an otherworldly energy, and the swarm outside the crypt seemed to sense the impending climax. Dr. Carter, armed with a mystical artifact she had discovered during their journey, began a ritual to lay the ancient spirit to rest. As she chanted the incantation, the air inside the crypt grew heavy with tension. The walls seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, and the swarm outside writhed in response. Suddenly, a ghastly figure materialized before them, the spectral form of the cult leader, his eyes burning with malevolence. The survivors, undeterred by the supernatural presence, continued the ritual. Dr. Carter held the artifact high, channeling its power to banish the ancient spirit. The cult leader howled in rage, unleashing a final wave of the killer bees in a desperate attempt to defend his cursed legacy. In a blinding burst of light, the artifact's power clashed with the dark magic that bound the swarm. The crypt trembled, and the spectral form of the cult leader disintegrated into a swirling mist. Outside, the swarm let out a deafening hum before dispersing into the ether, leaving Ravenswood in an eerie silence. As the survivors emerged from the crypt, they were greeted by a transformed landscape. The once endless swarm of killer bees had vanished, without a trace, leaving behind only the haunting memories of the horrors they had unleashed. Ravenswood, now free from the malevolent influence, began the slow process of rebuilding. The town's once thriving community, decimated by the relentless swarm, sought solace in the newfound peace. The survivors, weary and scarred, struggled to come to terms with the traumas they had endured. Dr. Isabella Carter, hailed as a hero for her pivotal role in breaking the curse, dedicated herself to helping those affected by the ordeal. She established a support center for the survivors, offering counseling and assistance as they grappled with the lingering effects of the killer bee onslaught. As the nation slowly recovered, the story of Ravenswood became a cautionary tale passed down through generations. The ancient curse and the relentless swarm served as a reminder of the delicate balance between the natural and supernatural realms. People whispered about the dark magic that had once gripped the town, and legends warned against meddling with forces beyond human understanding. However, not all was tranquil in Ravenswood. The scarred landscape bore witness to the harrowing events, and eerie whispers echoed through the abandoned streets. Some residents claimed to still hear the distant hum of wings on quiet nights, a haunting reminder of the swarm that had once terrorized the town. Despite the prevailing sense of unease, life in Ravenswood gradually returned to normal. The once desolate streets were repopulated, and the scars of the swarm's onslaught began to fade. Yet, beneath the surface, an unsettling undercurrent lingered, as if the town itself retained the echoes of the ancient curse. Years passed, and Ravenswood became a place shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Tourists were drawn to the town, fascinated by the tales of the killer bee swarm and the brave individuals who had faced the supernatural threat. Locals, however, remained vigilant, wary of the residual energy that seemed to cling to the very fabric of their town. As darkness fell over Ravenswood, the air would sometimes carry a faint hum, a sound that sent a chill down the spines of those who remembered the swarm. The town's residents, although grateful for the peace that had been restored, couldn't shake the feeling that the ancient curse had left an indelible mark on their home. And so, Ravenswood stood as a testament to the thin veil that separated the ordinary from the extraordinary, the natural from the supernatural. The town's story served as a cautionary reminder that, in the quietest corners of the world, ancient forces could awaken, forever altering the course of history and leaving behind a legacy that echoed through time. One fateful night, years after the swarm had disappeared, a shadowy figure arrived in Ravenswood. This mysterious stranger, known only as Elias Blackthorne, was a self-proclaimed expert in the occult. Drawn by the town's dark history, Elias sought to uncover the secrets that lingered in the air. Elias wandered through the deserted streets, his keen eyes catching glimpses of faded symbols and ancient markings on dilapidated buildings. As he delved deeper into the heart of Ravenswood, The air seemed to thicken with an otherworldly energy, confirming his suspicions that the town still harbored a lingering connection to the supernatural. Driven by a relentless curiosity, Elias stumbled upon the remnants of the cult's temple. The structure, though decayed, radiated a palpable sense of malevolence. Ignoring the warnings whispered by the wind, Elias ventured inside, determined to unlock the mysteries that clung to Ravenswood like a shroud. In the depths of the temple, Elias discovered a hidden chamber adorned with cryptic symbols and long-forgotten artifacts. As he examined the ancient relics, a sudden gust of wind extinguished the lone candle illuminating the room. In the darkness, a haunting voice echoed through the chamber, resonating with the same malevolence that had plagued Ravenswood in the past. The voice spoke of an unfinished ritual, a thread left dangling in the fabric of reality. Elias, undeterred by the ominous warnings, decided to complete the ritual, believing that he could harness the ancient power for his own gain. Unbeknownst to him, the barrier between the natural and supernatural realms began to weaken once more. As Elias chanted the incantation, the air crackled with energy, and the long-forgotten symbols on the walls glowed with an ethereal light. Ravenswood, now free from the swarm, quivered as the ancient curse threatened to resurface. Unseen forces stirred, and the town held its breath as the veil between worlds trembled. Suddenly, a ghostly apparition materialized in the chamber, the vengeful spirit of the cult leader. His eyes glowed with an otherworldly fury as he confronted Elias, warning him of the consequences of meddling with forces beyond mortal understanding. Elias, consumed by arrogance and ambition, dismissed the warnings. He believed he could control the unleashed power and bend it to his will. As the ritual reached its climax, the town itself seemed to rebel against the intrusion, with the very ground shaking in protest. The spirit of the cult leader, fueled by centuries of resentment, merged with the unleashed energy. A vortex of darkness enveloped Elias, who realized too late the gravity of his actions. The swarm, once banished, began to reassemble, drawn to the renewed malevolence that now emanated from the heart of Ravenswood. The townspeople, sensing the impending danger, gathered outside the temple, witnessing the resurgence of the once endless swarm. Panic gripped Ravenswood once again as the air filled with the deafening hum of a million wings. The town, now a battleground between the supernatural and the mortal, faced a new wave of terror. As the swarm descended upon the streets, the people of Ravenswood realized that the curse had returned with a vengeance. The lessons of the past had been forgotten, and the town stood on the precipice of a second calamity, ensnared by the insidious forces that had plagued it for centuries. And so, Ravenswood, once a symbol of resilience and triumph, found itself ensnared in an eternal struggle between the natural and the supernatural, a haunting tale of a town forever haunted by the echoes of its dark past. The once charming haven had become a battleground where the line between nightmares and reality blurred, leaving the fate of its inhabitants hanging in the balance.
Like, subscribe, and click on notifications that will allow you to stay up to date with the news and not miss videos from the channel, where there will be many more horror stories.